Well, today we'll talk about Chapter 5. This one's titled Managing Risk with the IPDE Process. Again, as in the announcement, you need to watch these videos and follow along in your book. There's a requirement from the state for hours that you need to have in driver's ed seat time, and it's about 27 hours. So if you're not watching the videos, you're not spending enough time on driver's ed, so please do that. Thank you. Okay, 5.1, the IPDE process. Understanding risk factors. So when driving a vehicle, the possibility of crash is always present. The driver, vehicle, roadway, and environment contribute to the risk factors, or anything that can increase the possibility of a collision involved in driving. So if you're doing everything you can, the risk is still there because another driver might be doing something wrong. As a driver, you create risk when you don't give your undivided attention to the driving task. Drivers who take unnecessary chances can increase your level of risk and a chance of conflict. As a driver, it is your responsibility to properly maintain your vehicle. So that one is a little bit harder now unless you're a mechanic. You may not know exactly what you need to do for your car. A state requirement of having a vehicle inspection is no longer. I don't know if it's such a good idea, but you don't have to have your vehicle inspected every year. So driving on bald tires, that may happen, and that could lead to a blowout and a collision, or a cracked windshield, or not maintaining your wipers, and then it gets in a rainstorm and then the driver can't see because the wipers aren't working properly. So as a driver, we need to make sure to do that on our own now. There's some roadway and environment contributed factors. Then the IPDE process, again, identify, predict, decide, and execute. And over on the right-hand side of page 81, you can see each of those four processes and then what specific things that you need to do under each one. The zone control system is an organized method for managing 6 zones of space surrounding your vehicle, and they'll be shown on the next page. The zone control system includes the following steps: see a zone change, check other zones, and create time and space by getting the best speed control, lane position, and communication. So using the IPDE process in conjunction with the zone control system will help you develop behaviors that will make you a safe and responsible driver. Okay, 5.2, identify and predict. So we're talking about the first two of those processes. So under identify, you must know when to look, where to look, how to look, and what to look for. So down to the bottom, the different zones. A zone is one of 6 areas of space around a vehicle that is the width of a lane and extends as far as the driver can see. So you can see the 6 that surround the car, left and right front zone plus the middle or just front zone, and left and rear zones in addition to the rear zone, which is directly behind the car. An open zone is space when you can drive without a restriction. Your line of sight is the distance you can see ahead in the direction that you are looking. The target area, this is the section of roadway where the target is located in the center of your intended path. So down at the bottom of page 83, you can see the 3 searching ranges, and the target area range is the longest and skinniest one. So that's your intended path of travel. A closed zone, the target area is the section of, just read that one. Closed zone is a space not open to you because of a restriction. Then searching the ranges, so you have your target range, which I mentioned. Then there's the 12 to 15 second range. That's the second one back. I'm going from the farthest away first. And then the 4 to 6 second range, you can see how the immediate one is much wider and closer to the vehicle. And then as it gets farther out, it narrows because something that could be a problem, you may not see it until you get farther down the road. You need to develop an orderly visual search pattern. You can use any of the several patterns to help develop your own identifying process. An orderly visual search pattern is a process of searching critical areas in a regular sequence. To use an orderly visual search pattern, look for clues in and around your intended path of travel in a systematic manner. So over on 84, this is kind of an example of an orderly visual search pattern. Again, it can be up to you how you do that. Maybe you're driving along and you glance in the rearview mirror, then you look down the road a couple of seconds, and then you check your two rearview mirrors. Then you go for a little bit. Maybe you're going to look ahead of you in that middle range, and you're going to look a little farther off to the side of the road, or maybe just the outer sides of the lane. and then as you go a little farther, again, maybe check farther down the road. Just be aware of that. But it doesn't have to be, a long time. Just as you drive, just quick glances in those areas as you drive. And then you will repeat this pattern continually as you move forward. Each look or glance should last only an instant as you evaluate your zones and the areas to the left and right. Be careful not to stare as you search. Practice using your orderly visual search pattern as a passenger. Okay, down at the bottom we talk about some different aspects of vision. I think this is going to be mentioned a little bit later, but first of all we have the area that you can see around you while looking straight ahead is called the field of vision. Many of us can see an area of about 90 degrees to each side for a total of 180 degrees, and that's actually called our peripheral vision. The area that you can see clearly and sharply is central vision. So there's about maybe a 3% cone out ahead. So if I look, say somebody was in the back of the classroom and they held up their hand, okay, I would see, okay, that person has 4 fingers. But if there's somebody out here in these desks and I'm still looking straight ahead, I might be able to see their hand go up, but I may not see how many fingers. So I could see the hand, but can't really tell because that's blurry. So bigger movement you can see on the side. So this is a narrow cone of only up to 10 degrees. Again, I said 3 on the central. The area you can see to the left and right, side vision or peripheral. So one thing you can do is look straight ahead and put your arms straight out to the side. And again, you don't move your head, but just looking straight ahead, put your fingers forward and then wiggle your fingers, and you should see movement of your fingers, okay? So that's 180 degrees there. As the distance from central vision increases toward the outer edge of peripheral vision, the less clearly you can identify clues and events. Another important one is depth perception, or the ability to judge the relative distance of objects correctly is especially important for driving. You must be able to judge distances correctly in order to pass and follow the vehicles and judge stopping distances. In that 12 to 15 second range, so we have curves, hills, large vehicles, weather conditions, buildings, trees, or even a dirty windshield that can affect those. Scanning, develop the art of scanning, which is glancing continually and quickly with very brief fixations through your orderly visual search pattern. So down at the bottom it shows you that 10 degree central vision cone. I think my other book mentioned 3% or 3 degrees. And then the peripheral, again, you should be able to see everything within that arc, but maybe not as clearly. So again, it's going to be bigger movement, but not specific sharp. Okay, look for open zones. So you can see down the road, there's cars parked on the right on page 86. You might see exhaust coming from a tailpipe or a driver sitting in a car. That would indicate that a car might be about to enter your path of travel and cause your front zone to close. Look for other users. So develop the habit of ground viewing as a part of your visual search pattern. Ground viewing is making quick quick glances to the roadway in front of your vehicle. So not necessarily the red car, but if you look 3 cars ahead, so there's 2 cars, then there's a bit of a gap, and you can actually look underneath that car. If somebody was walking in front of that one, you would be able to see the feet, their feet as they walk by. Now, if it was an adult, taller person, you'd probably see them above the car. But say if it was a child or someone that was a little shorter, then seeing their feet under the car would be very helpful. All right, look for roadway features and conditions. An intersection is a high-risk area where the management of your path of travel needs constant attention. A hill is a line of sight restriction that could hide a closed zone as you go over the hill. Maybe there's an accident on the other side, and as you come up over it, you wouldn't see it till you get to the top of the hill. So, maybe slow up a little bit and always be focusing your attention there. Change from multi-lane to a single lane. So we have that throughout Fillmore quite a bit. As you're traveling north on Main Street, you get down by Clough's, that lane ends. Going south on Main Street, out by across from Duane's, Fillmore Market, okay, changes from 2 lanes to 1. Out by the hospital, and the same thing on the other side, coming back into town. Right in front of the sheriff's building, that building there. The 2 lanes end and becomes 1. And there's a yellow sign, and it has a solid line on the left side, and then the right side comes in. So that indicates that it's the right lane that will be ending. And you just treat that like a lane change. Okay. Change from multi-lane, so we just did that one. Change in the width of the lane. Standing water, patches of snow, potholes, or objects in the road. They might cause you to have to move to the right or left edge of the lane. The roadway surface itself, be prepared to adjust your driving for changing weather conditions that it might affect the roadway surface. Hazards, look at the picture on the left. So, you might be driving along, maybe it's a road that's not used much, and there's a little bit of a rock slide that came down. You might be the first person to encounter that. So, be careful as you drive by. Also, be a good idea to call that in. Look for traffic controls. So at major intersections, those controls might be overhead, center of the road, corner. Anyway, identify traffic controls as early as possible, and so that you're able to respond to them. Okay, predicting, you take the information that you have identified and imagine what might happen next. So you need to learn how to predict, what to predict, what might happen, and also predicting the actions of others. Okay, is the driver ahead or to the side of me going to change paths? Are they going to stop, swerve, speed up? Will I have space as I get close to them? And is there going to be a point of conflict? And can I do anything about it to alleviate that? Predicting control of your vehicle. Speed is probably the most important factor in maintaining control of your vehicle. Always be prepared to adjust your speed. So you want to have the adequate time to adjust to a problem, so don't be driving too fast for conditions. The basic requirement for vehicle control is traction. Traction is the actual gripping power between the tires and the road surface. The more traction there is, the greater the gripping power. That was a long section. I think the others are fairly short. And then knowledge. This is knowledge you gain in this class. Things that you know about driving. Judgment is your interpretation of what might happen. I'm gonna think that the car may be slowing down. Okay, I'm gonna judge that. I need to then do something. And then finally, your experience. Exposure to a wide variety of driving experiences provide a solid base for making sound judgments. So the more driving you do, the better you get at predicting some of those. Okay, and then we have decide and execute. Excuse me. So deciding, your decision might be to maintain speed, change speed, change direction, or communicate your plan to others. And you might use a combination of those. So if you decide to change speed, down at the bottom shows a chart there. The driver in the yellow car has decided to accelerate to provide space for the passing driver to return. Oh, I see. The gray car behind has been coming up, so the yellow car moved ahead to allow them time to move in. Decide to change direction. You can use an escape path into an open zone to avoid a conflict. This area of space all around your vehicle is called a space cushion. Down at the bottom on page 93, on the right-hand side, you can see those different lane positions. So 1 is right down the middle, 2, you're to the left side, and 3 to the right side of the lane. Okay, deciding to communicate, you can decide to communicate with others by using your lights, horn, vehicle position, or eye contact. And even body movement can help others decide what you're going to do. Okay, the flow of traffic. So if everyone uses this process of IPDE process, it will help everybody be smoother out there on the road. Minimizing hazards. So you always want to do that, or reduce, which is to reduce the possibility of conflict by deciding to put more distance between yourself and the hazard. Then you need to separate the hazards. What if there's something happening here, but then there's another hazard that down the road, or something that could happen? Then you need to separate them. Let me take care of this one first, then maybe that one won't be a problem, or it will alleviate or reduce that problem, or once I'm done this one, then I can deal with that one. Compromise space. You must decide to compromise space by giving as much space as possible to the greater hazard. So down at the bottom, carrying out your decision in order to avoid conflict is the execute step in the IPDE process. Control speed, steer, communicate. So look at the picture at the bottom right. You can see that there's the yellow car, they're slowing down and moving a little closer to the right side because the truck is coming and it's having to move in towards the center of the lane because there's a gray car pulling out in front of them. So that's, again, that's kind of the action of separating hazards, compromising space, and then actually executing. Okay, controlling speed. Always check your rear zone before decelerating or braking in any manner. Being able to control your speed is very important. Okay, steering to avoid a conflict. So again, both hands on the wheel to be able to do that. You can steer too much and cause a problem. You can not steer enough, or hopefully you steer just right. Again, communicating, you can do that by your headlights, taillights, and brake lights. So using headlights during daylight hours is a safety practice that makes your vehicle more visible. Some new vehicles are equipped with daytime running lights. I think every new car made has daytime running lights. So down at the bottom on 97, that's it's either a Chevy Tahoe or a Suburban, and you can see there's lights on. So as soon as your car starts up in the daytime, those lights will come on. And it has been a proven fact that that the cars driving with headlights on, even during the daytime, have fewer accidents. So it's a good thing. Turn signal lights, parking lights, hazard flashers, backup lights. So I don't know if you guys realize this, when you back up, there's some white lights that come on in the back. So all of these can help other drivers be more aware of you. Tap your horn, honk your horn if you need to alert somebody. Your vehicle position, eye contact and body movement that we've talked about, and then combining these actions to help you be a better driver. Okay, number 4. So my old book talked a lot about visibility, time, and space. So it is up to every driver to manage space, time, and speed in order to further increase safety within the HTS. And that's part of making a maneuver. So putting that IPD into action, selective use of the process. So take a look at the picture at the bottom of 99. So you see the ball came out into the road. Well, more than likely there's going to be some children that's going to chase after that, so be aware. Okay, final picture on page 100. So it does take time and practice to develop the IPDE process. Practice is necessary for the development of and improvement of any skill in driving, and that's very true. So with this picture, okay, we can't tell if the guy's getting out or in the car, but you could take a path that's a little bit farther to the left, allow them room. What if they stumbled getting out? Okay, that would be a problem. And as you go by, you could slow down a little bit, take your foot off the gas, cover the brake, be ready to stop if you needed to. So, okay. Okay, I'll have the assignment in the announcements. So, thank you.